Now here it is. We're announcing the new day trader service, which includes the impulse monitor. Just a little bit of background. Me being a trader on the CBOE floor starting in May of '74, I was a market maker, and my job was to make a market. We bid and offer in all of the option classes that I was there obligated to do so, and that's how we would make money, the bid and ask. And then as the markets evolved and things changed, all of a sudden those edges started to go away, especially when we went to decimalization. So instead of trading for eighths or sixteenths or trading for pennies, and a lot of that edge was gone. Then the invasion of the bigger companies into those markets where they had their own traders in every single pit, and they were really tightening up the markets, and it was all about the math and no longer about really reading what was going on in the market, and it got harder and harder as a trader on the floors. It got to be where you had to be a better analyst, and especially over the years, as you got through the 80s and 90s, was really the time when it evolved into the markets being momentum markets. And you really had to understand the momentum in the market. As a day trader, I was certainly that as a market maker. And certainly when I left the floor in '84 and permanently in '91 as an off the floor trader, then it was all about momentum, all about catching the impulses in the market. So as askSlim evolved, we did a lot of things that were really for swing traders and for longer holders, and a lot of the things that we had done were for that style of trader. And then when we came out with the SIR intraday built on 15-minute charts, we really saw that there was a huge demand for shorter term intraday traders. And then I started to think, well, we really need a way to help these day traders out there who are using that service, but don't, in my opinion, have enough information. So I started to develop the Impulse Monitor. That is exactly what it is. It monitors for the potential of a big impulse in one direction or the other. The purpose of it is to alert you so that you can use your own style, your own studies that you use, that there's a period ahead that there may be an impulse, and it likely, if it happens, will be a big impulse, so that you can improve the size of your win. That's the idea. You need to get bigger wins than losses. You need to be able to take the ride and to know when really it's over. When is that energetic impulse over with? And that's why I worked so hard for many months on developing the Impulse Monitor. Of course, with the help of Arby, who was really a super technical guy, and Matt, we worked on this like crazy with our development team, and this is what we came up with. This is the Impulse Monitor as you would see it on our website. What this is looking at is the S&P 500 this morning, and it came in this morning with a impulse condition of negative. The impulse was on negative. What did that mean? That meant the energies were such that the market was likely to continue to move to the downside. And you could see in the change log here at 9:35, when this turns on in the morning, 9:35 Eastern time, that the impulse was negative. This was taken at 10:32 a.m. And you know, at that point, an hour into the move, the market was in bad shape. So that impulse had been on for an hour, and you were catching a pretty good move on the downside if your own tools suggested that was the right thing to use. Here we are at a refresh at 10:39 a.m. Eastern time. And you can see in here that you had that long move to the downside, looking at SPY, QQQ, IWM, and DAI. Those are the two different looks on the website, where you look at just the stock market, really looking at the SPY, or you look at all four of the major indexes right there. And you can see that that had you believing that if you were short as a day trader, well, the energies were still moving to the downside. Again, these are not trade indicators. These are simply condition indicators for you to use with your own work. So you can see on the bottom, you can still reserve for 50% off a first month discount, but there's more to show you. Now look what happened here at 11:14 a.m. What happened was the market started to stabilize and something changed. So the Dow was the first index to change condition. It went to neutral. In other words, the downside impulse ended. If you were short the Dow, well, that says to you, well, it probably doesn't have the energy right now to continue to the downside. The other indexes were still negative at that point. And that's saying, well, the impulse is still on there, but it's no longer on the Dow. That tells you that there is a relative strength change where the Dow is stronger. If you were a pair trader, you might consider that the Dow is the one to buy, and maybe one of the other ones the one to short. The downward arrow says, were energies to come back in the market right now, that a downside resumption is the highest possibility. But this is still a neutral reading. This doesn't say to go short. It says that the energy to the downside on the Dow had ended. Now, were you to be looking at it and wondering, well, what are these different things we're looking at? Here's the legends right in here that you can really see, and you can be monitored on Discord if you set that up, and the team will help you with that. Jason is our lead in there, and you can see this tells you when the impulse is on, the conditions exist for a favorable upward impulse, or conditions exist for a favorable downside impulse. These three right over here are neutral readings. When the impulse, when it's plain yellow, the conditions are just neutral. It's not telling us there's any energy anywhere or the other. And you're probably in a lot of sideways chop when that's going on. When it gives you the upward right over there, that tells you that you were likely previously in a positive impulse, but now it's gone neutral. But we're going to be aware that right now the energies say that if it were to have another impulse, right now the odds that would be to the upside, or right over here, the odds to the downside. These are neutral readings right in here. Again, remember, these are not buy and sell signals. These are not entry and exit signals. These are market condition signals, so that you know when the impulse is likely to start or when it is on. This is what it looks like on your mobile phone. You can see that that app shows you when the highest odds are of a strong intraday directional move. This is what it looks like if you're just looking at the S&P 500. This is if you're looking at all four. And down the road in the next version, we're going to have some of the key stocks on there also. And this is what it looks like if you're looking at the SIR intraday along with it, which is a phenomenal look. And if you don't know what the SIR is, intraday, Matt's going to show you that, but I want you to know that you can still reserve 50% off for the first month through this weekend. This is a one-time offer. Can you imagine an app like this? First month, only $17.50 for you to try it. We're tweaking it now for the next couple of days, so you can still reserve this. Go to the top of the askSlim.com website and sign up, get your reservation in there for $17.50 for the first month, and you'll then be able to explore it and try it out with us as we just refine it and fine tune it right now.